Hi, everyone. Welcome to Brave Conversations. My name is Cynthia, founder of the Brave Zone, and it's great to have everybody back here again to have a little chat with real people doing real things that create real impact. And today we've got Sam Osbiston, and she helps people find their bravery and courage and find themselves and express it through writing. So it's great to have you on the show. Sam, welcome.
Hiya, thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah, we both host business women groups around Bath through Business Women's In organization. So it's really nice to meet another host. What area do you host, Sam?
I'm in Melksham, which is in Wiltshire.
Great. So now that everything's online, feel free to jump into Business Women's In organization and find Sam and her group and join in. Right? It's really fun to do that. So Sam, your expertise is not only in writing, but it's actually helping people find the courage within themselves. Tell us more about that.
I think from sort of being a child that lived in a very magical world and would often venture off and no one would ever be able to find me. I'd go and my parents would be looking and I'd send them crazy because I'd just be off all the time trying to live in, this magical fairy-like world and out in nature, and that's where I felt good. And I think once the world started, I became aware more of the real world, and I felt really alone and invisible. I didn't feel comfortable in the world that told me that I couldn't be magic or I couldn't be creative or I couldn't just be me. And I had a lot of confidence issues and very shy, didn't put myself forward for anything, missed out on a lot of opportunities like singing, dance, all these things I really wanted to do, and sabotaged from a very young age. I would never follow through on anything, whether it was ballet or sticking to youth club or even friendships. It was just, I just couldn't find my place. I felt like a real fly on the wall, like I was just observing life and not really a part of it. And I think that left me really open to and susceptible to people taking advantage. Me, I would like to always want to people please and look after people and always saw the good in everyone. And I kind of left myself open to
That's okay. People are getting comfortable looking at a cat.
I'm just scared of her bottom showing.
I'm going to leave this because I don't want to edit this out. This is real. I mean, this is all real.
Hello.
Right? Great.
She's a show cat. Yeah, so I left myself susceptible really to people who took advantage of my nature and who could see my low self-esteem. And, I ended up in a really difficult relationships. I didn't feel loved. I never felt the love. And so that would mean that those people who really did love me, I didn't recognize. And those people who were really there to just be in a relationship where they could, full belt their narcissism upon me, then, that's where I found myself. And I kind of found myself in a relationship for 12 years where I wasn't, it was physically and more mentally abusive and very volatile. And I think that's where I recognised my first act of courage and the first place that I really, even though it took me a while, that I really found my feeling and my grounding in the floor and said, I'm not doing this anymore. And at the age of around 30, I decided I had 3 children at the time, and we just left and, in secret and started a new life. And that was the beginning of this journey, really, where I am today, because from that point on, I started to unpick myself and look at the pieces I wanted to keep and look at the pieces I wanted to get rid of. Maybe some of those pieces I would acknowledge, but to acknowledge those things that I did that were inappropriate or awkward or uncomfortable, and to really sort of find my feet in my world. So that's kind of my journey to why I do what I do, because I really don't want anyone to ever feel like they're on their own. I don't want anyone to feel like they have to go through that darkness on their own. And if I can share any wisdom from my experience, then that to me is like my ultimate goal in life. So that's why I do what I do. And the writing for me is the conduit, is the therapy, is the way I express myself. And because I value it, I guess I kind of and have become expert in that process, then that's how I encourage people to express themselves and at least have a go at, you know, offloading the baggage that they've collected, so they can decipher. It's like decoding, isn't it? Decoding the language that you use, the mess that's on the page, and to put that together in a way that makes you recognize yourself. So it's a reflective process.
That is awesome. That's very good. I mean, as someone who has gone through personal trauma, you know, abuse and self-confidence issues myself, I find that what you're doing is very important. And I think that's also why I got triggered to help more self-employed people or people who are just putting themselves out there in their business, to help them understand and connect with themselves, because you can do all these marketing and put yourself out there and everything, but there's these little dark spaces, they creep up, you know. Some people creep up in anger, some people creep up and they become introverts. They're not actually introverts, but they're actually just scared. And or some people just become defensive and narcissistic themselves, you know, and that's deeper self-awareness is very important. Yeah. And why writing? What was the connection with writing? Do you find that writing is a special activity that helps people more than other types of activities?
I think that there's an element of psychology and neurology with the way you move your hand and the connection to the brain that activates certain things within the brain. That means you're I think almost rewiring yourself. So it's kind of that element. But also I think I used to have a diary as a child, and I've always sort of been, now and again I'd write a poem or something, you know, and I didn't even think anything of it. And it wasn't until I guess I started journaling properly in about 7 years ago, and I realised the impact that had. And like most of the stuff I wrote over those first years of journaling again was illegible. And that was the reflection of how my mind was at the end of the day. And I think that powerful process I went through of being able to see that jumble come into not only sort of like differently formed words, but also the clarity, and like even my handwriting changed. You know, it's just you would only have to look at the pages to see the transformation without even reading the words. It's quite powerful, and I just thought that's my tool, that's my weapon, if you like, for change is writing. And also I didn't realise, but apparently I'm quite good at it. So it's like I didn't know. People kept telling me and how beautiful my writing was and how much it affected them personally when they read things that I'd written, and how much that resonated. And it took me a long time to recognise that in myself and acknowledge and accept that I am a writer, and that is my thing, my passion, my gift, and that was the way I needed to, you know, to use my gift.
And so I assume that means writing, not typing on a computer.
So it's so important to have a pen or pencil and paper, and movement, the actual connecting with the paper, and not typing. If you can't write for whatever reason, then typing's the next best thing. And I fully, I'm kind of the person, and I learned this a long time ago, that you know, you've got to use what you've got at the end of the day to express yourself in whatever way you can, because you can't, you know, I don't want to put people in a box. You don't have to do that. You know, you have to have something that helps you express, that helps you let go, and for me that's writing.
Okay, good. Um, so going back to, because Brave Conversations is also about helping people who watch this find that inner courage and bravery. What is what are some of the challenges people have when they want to be brave, but they are having all these past conditioning or past traumas that they have? What are, without revealing any names or anything, what are some of the interesting cases that you've worked with?
I think people don't realise what their own personal possibilities are. You know, that they have this vision that's quite constricted of what they can achieve, and they don't always see what they've already achieved. And I think that's one of the most wonderful things about some of the classes that I do is like helping people go back and sort of create a timeline of things that they've done and achieved, little things like when we were talking just before we started, I was talking about how like getting out of bed in the morning was one of my biggest achievements, because I was so scared to face the day, and I was so in so much pain that I didn't want to experience any more of that. You know, I just want to hide away. So a lot of the people I work with are in a similar place where they're hiding from the realities and the possibilities of what they can achieve, and they do that by sabotaging. They sabotage writing that piece and submitting it to a competition, or writing their blog, or pitching for a podcast, or something they really really feel passionate about, and yet they're sabotaging and thinking, I can't do that, I'm not enough, I can't do that, that's not me, I'm not an expert, or I'm not that person, that's not for me. And so a lot of the people I work with don't feel like they have a voice. They feel that they have to be quiet, or they don't speak up in a meeting, or they don't put themselves forward for hosting networking meetings, because they don't feel like that's their place. They've been told, so many times before that they can't do that, be quiet, that they've never got the promotion at work, or they're always missing out on the promotion at work, or missing out on the opportunity, that amazing project. And they just keep feeling like they're getting told from the universe that they're not allowed, that's not for them, that they have to just stay in a little ball and and just stay as they are and not grow. That's generally my experience of the people I work with. There's always something like that, something that somebody has told them in the past that means that they're not even going to try. So
Yeah. I'm enjoying the cat. We've got 3 cats at home, so, and one of them is black and white, but not exactly that.
it's so
I think
funny,
that's
she's
hilarious.
having a little
I think that's so
wander
cute,
around.
actually. Um, well, so when I work with clients, of course they are business people and they want their business to go to their next level, or even to be better than what it is. But and they realize that it's not just about business strategies. I mean, I can advise them on all that, but it's really
Yeah.
going back to themselves first. And what I find, and also because I resonate with what you're doing, I mean, I've had my own personal experience. I think for me, getting over my experience of abuse and low self-confidence and being lonely is, it's one thing is, I learned to realize that I was worth it, and that sounds really basic, right? Like, oh,
Yeah.
you are. Well, it's very easy for someone who grew up with self-confidence and a loving parents and a loving everything, and where the world is just super positive, to feel that way about themselves. But I think when you have been abused, manipulated, or somebody's been expressing their narcissism at you and
Mm-hmm.
expecting you to do that. I remember in my childhood, I was told, don't say anything.
Oh
And that
gosh,
became,
yeah.
don't say it, don't tell your parents, don't, and then that became a conditioning for me. Don't speak out, don't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as that. Or when somebody plays with different parts of your body or abuses you in a certain way, and you start feeling, that's all I am, that's the value I have, I don't have any other thing, that's what I am, and
Yeah.
that it's so basic to just say you are worth it. And then it's such a basic lesson that you're allowing yourself to be worth it, rather
Mhm.
than being conditioned by these people who want to control you, that you're not worth it, this is just what you are. So I think awakening that in them. And I assume that when you're writing with your clients, it's stories, it's fiction stories or magical stories that you're writing together, or what kind of
No,
writing happens?
more non-fiction, actually, personal experiences. Although recently in one of my classes, one lady did write a children's story, which was absolutely amazing. So I get these unexpected, but generally it's been non-fiction. And I tend to share, I'll share journaling prompts, but I'll share a story. So each class will have a story or an experience that I write about, and then there'll be some journaling prompts or an activity for them to go and do, in order for them to sort of draw out the things, either the timeline, like I was saying before, or for them to have a play. So I very much add a little bit of make believe in there and get them to play, and put sort of like a writer's observatory hat on, but sort of like from a place of play, because like if I still try and bring that magic, because that magic that I had as a child, that's kind of one of the other things that saved me. So I think it's really important to bring that in. But yes, they are stories, whether they're personal or fictional, they equally have as much power,
Yeah.
to draw out and to resonate, for the person to take some steps for them to grow
Yeah.
themselves.
I think it's important because when I find people who want to market their services and put themselves out there, they also need to attract the right kinds of communities and
Mm-hmm.
clients around them, right? And if you don't know yourself, then the vibe and the energy, or you're just pretending to be someone else because you're just putting walls around you to stop you from getting hurt again, you never really uh, you never really let go of that personal energy that attracts the right kinds of clients. You'll
Hmm.
be getting clients, you'll be getting
Oh
friends,
yeah.
the friends that actually resonate.
Collecting people.
Yeah, and then connecting people, but then you realize, oh, how come I don't feel like I've got any real friends? It's because you're
Hmm.
not letting your real self out. People
Yeah.
don't know who you are, actually. People who know you, who you pretend to be.
Yeah.
But once the walls are allowed to let be broken down, then you start, okay, you'll have a collection of acquaintances, but the ones you call friends are really those ones that really understand you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
completely. Yeah, definitely. And you realize, yeah, what a friend really looks like and feels like and
Yeah.
acts like. Yeah.
What do your clients go off to do, or be, or how do they transform after they work with you?
I think they incorporate elements of their experience within their work, from based on clients' experiences. They've had some massive transformations and built courage enough to follow and pursue their dreams. Um, they have written things, and they are willing to delve into themselves more. I think sometimes the change can be big in an inside world way, like people don't realize, or the people who have been the women mainly who've been on my classes don't realize that there are other parts of themselves, and they don't realize that these parts are allowed to be out and being shown in the world. And I think that element of it is having the courage just to show up as yourself is really key to the results that my students clients get at the end of the day. Is almost a permission slip to explore who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we talk about, you deal with a lot of women in your work. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mine
mainly. Yeah.
are predominantly women. And I want to talk about women empowerment and women's rights and equality and all that kind of stuff, which I think it's always, yes, there's a lot of policy changes, there's a lot of changes the world can do for us, but what are we doing to develop ourselves as well? Because
Hmm.
where I'm coming from, it's not, don't be that, everybody's experienced some kind of discrimination. Sometimes
Oh
when
my
you
God.
have discriminated because of your age, men get discriminated all the time for various things, and women, of course, as well. But how does what you do empower women to express themselves more and kind of create a more equal world for themselves? Because I think in as much as the world needs to change, but also there's women who decide to always be disempowered, and
Yeah.
they need to also, when given that chance and this age, they need to also do something and lead instead of just demand or complain, right? What's your take on that, and how does what you do empower them?
I think women don't realise they can be leader, or they've not been shown what a leader looks like. You know, that they don't necessarily have a role model in their lives that epitomises what a true leader is. We have this societal view of what a leader is, and it's often a white male, an older white male, and we don't resonate with that. You know, some of us are more masculine than feminine, as women, and so some of us can, you know, stay in the corporate world or stay in that kind of environment and lead and do a really good job. But leading and women's empowerment in the real world, in the world where we see someone like Jacinda in New Zealand, who's using the femininity of her power and her leadership to make massive changes in her country and be, I hope, an influence all around the world. I think we misunderstand what power looks like. I wrote a quote once, but I'm not going to be able to remember my own quote, but it is about power being unassuming and gentle. And I think that as women, we have this very amazing skill as mothers. Whether we actually have children or not, we're still a mother. We still have that ability to be a mother, in the nature sense, and that nurturing and nourishing that we do with our own children and other people is such a invaluable, just immensely valuable tool for a leader to have. And how we do that with everyone is the key, really, to being a true leader. And women don't recognise this in themselves. We don't have to be all shouty and power dressed and you know, to make a change, to make an impact, to lead a team. If we understand our team and help them grow by teaching and sharing our wisdom, then overall the world is going to be a far better place. And for me, I kind of want my students, my clients, to be gentle activists in the world, you know, to really be encouraged and empowered, to know that they have a gift, something to contribute, that they can be a leader, that they don't have to, like I was saying earlier, like you have to stand on the front line with a banner to make an impact. They can make an impact through their art or through their writing or through speaking or through being a mother, through being a sister, through being a daughter, or sitting on the couch and choosing what channel you're going to watch. There's so much power in everyday actions. As women, we have a massive buying power in the world. We're the biggest spenders. At the end of the day, we choose what's on our shelves. We choose what comes into our homes, and the majority, I'm saying this is a statistic, it doesn't necessarily, but you know, we have
the market too.
yeah, you know, we have that power that will change the world, and we just have to realize it and step into it, whatever our path is. Like I say, it doesn't have to be that person that's you know, prime minister, or you know, it could be the mother, it can be the cousin, the sister. We have so much impact in our everyday lives that we can share, that we need to just remember that, really.
Yeah, I find there's two types, at least two. I know I'm sure there's more, but I'm generalizing into two types of people that make change. The one is with the banner and the shouting and everything, which I think if that's you, if
Oh my
that
God,
is
yeah.
you, and it's that and that energy is not coming from repressed anger or
Yeah.
ability to control your emotions and to communicate properly, if that is how you create that message, go for it, because we do need people at the front end creating that dissonance.
Yeah.
But then there's also the people that I call that using the masculine energy to just
Uh-huh.
boom create change.
Yes, yeah.
And then there's also the people which I choose to be the educate, that come back and just equip, because that's like you can shout all you want, but you also need people who just come and empower the people, empower the women that needs to, with equipping them with skills, with
Mm-hmm.
with mindset, with whatever they need. Because okay, so if you shout and you get what you want, but then these people are not, and the women are not ready to stand up and speak out and have the
Mm-hmm.
right skills to do what what they want to do, that is not balanced either. But then
No.
again, if it's all feminine energy and we don't have that shouting and banner holding and everything like that, that we could also have a slower progress, because we, those kinds of people, the
Yeah.
dissonance people, actually have their own their own use in the world. But I think it's what we do is similar, because whatever energy you want to choose, as long as it's coming authentically from you
Yeah. Yeah.
and not from repressed anger and not from the
Completely.
ability to communicate properly. If that's you, go for it. But if that's not you and you're covering it up and you're getting whatever, fix that in yourself so that you become what you're supposed to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. We have to understand where our passion is coming from, and that it's not, like you say, repressed anger, and that it's not based on still being angry for the experiences that you've had, that it's coming from a place that is honest and true, and that you have collected the facts, if you collected the emotions and the truths, and made an informed decision on how you want to make an impact, based on your skill set and gifts that you have. I think that all the combinations of all those things are equally as important. And for sure, we need the balance of masculine, feminine energy within all of us in order to do that. For sure, yeah.
Excellent. I
Yeah.
love what you do. And is there one special message that you'd like to leave behind for us?
I think for me, it's I don't want people ever to feel like they're alone, but also that it's okay to express yourself, to invest in yourself, to find the courage to know who you are. And for me, it's really important that I help people travel through that darkness that they've been through, and unpick it, and find the light for themselves, so that they can show up and express themselves, and and not sort of feel like they have to be silent, that they can express themselves in the way that they are true to them, and to make that impact they truly want to make.
Excellent. And I just want to add, I think when people are allowing themselves to express themselves and they've found their authenticity, they are also more respectful of other people who need to
Mm-hmm.
express themselves. Because sometimes when you are not resolving certain issues within yourself, you become unnecessarily dominant to the point where you repress other people's rights to be themselves.
Yeah, yeah,
You need
yeah.
to be like me, which is actually their own issue about not having that self-confidence.
Mm-hmm.
They look confident, they look dominant, there's actually little scared babies inside.
Yeah, yeah,
So I think that's a good balance. You fix yourself, but when you've done that for yourself, you realize that other people have the right to express themselves as
yeah, completely.
well. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, great. Thank you very much, Sam. And it's been a pleasure having you on the show. And, I hope you continue to inspire other people and helping them express their true selves.
Thank you. It's been great to be here. I've loved speaking with you.
And I love
Cynthia,
having
thank
the
you.
cat on the show as well. What's his or her name?
Which,
The cat, the black and
oh,
white.
the cat, sorry.
What's
She's
his
gone now.
so we can call the cat by name.
She's called Sky. Yeah, she's a rescue cat. So she's been with us for a couple of years now, but she's, yeah, she likes her cuddles. She likes her
Yeah.
20 minutes, and then
That's it.
That's it.
Set her own
She'll disown you for the rest of the day.
Well, thanks, Sam, for joining us. Thanks, everybody, for joining us on this brave conversation, and we'll see you next time.